Good morning, everyone. Glad to see everyone who's able to make it out here, made it out here. That was bothering me. Okay. Those that are still in good health, anyways. Keep those that are out due to quarantine and other sicknesses in your prayers. If you have your Bible and care to follow along, our reading will be James chapter 3, and then we'll go to our Heavenly Father in prayer. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. Behold, we put bits in the horse's mouth, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold also the ships, which though they be so great, and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth. Even so the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a member a little fire kindleth. Matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast and bird, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea, is tamed, and hath been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessings and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. Doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries? Either a vine figs? So can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh? Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your heart, glory not, and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but an earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envy and strife is, there is confusion, and every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entertained, full of mercy and good fruit, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of the righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Now we'll go to our Heavenly Father. Better watch it, I might break that camera.
Barely working.
So I had an interesting weekend at work, and I decided to do a lesson that from Brother Ellis that I have not heard in a while, that I found fascinating. So the title of this lesson is "Keep Your Tongue." He started this lesson off with a story of garbage delivered to a man's house. We'll call him Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown heard the clattering of a wheelbarrow in front of his house. He stepped to the window, wondering who it could be. It was one of his neighbors with his wheelbarrow loaded with all sorts of garbage. He turned into the yard and approached the house. His collection of rotten apples, tin cans, ashes, and whatnot contrasted strongly with the neat lawn beautiful flower beds. Good morning, Mr. Brown. I brought you a load of garbage, and I'm wondering where you wish to have it dumped. Mr. Brown's eyes opened widely with surprise. Where do I wish that stuff? Have you gone crazy? Do you see any signs telling you to dump garbage here? The neighbor pointed to a beautiful flower bed. There's room for it there, he suggested. I believe that's a good place to dump it. Mr. Brown gasped. You dump that stuff here and see what happens. Would you prefer it in the middle of the lawn? The neighbor asked. Say, what's the meaning of all this, Mr. Brown? And Mr. Brown was getting pretty irate. The best thing you can do is to get that stuff out of here. The neighbor nodded. I really believe this stuff should be taken to the garbage dump too. But I thought if you could dump your garbage where you please, I certainly should have the same privilege. What do you mean? Mr. Brown asked. Let me refresh your memory. You'll understand what I mean. Do you remember talking yesterday afternoon with some boys? Before you left them, you dumped a foul story on them, and also some profane language. Those boys go to church where I attend. We spend time and effort to keep their lives pure and clean, and they are as much a source of pride to us as your beautiful lawn and flower beds are to you. Yet you dumped your foul garbage on the midst of those boys. Having done so, you laughed and went away, leaving the garbage up there to breed evil thoughts and possible evil deeds. You do not wish your flowers buried beneath the pile of garbage. Neither do we wish the purity of those boys spoiled by your offensive language. You could remove this stuff from your lawn, but it is more difficult to remove evil thoughts which have been sown in the minds. This was a paraphrase story by L. Whiteman. Youngsters look up to adults as their idol, their ideal. Great care must be exercised in our speech so that the type of garbage is not dumped upon them. God has a great emphasis on sins of speech. As it said in our reading, it's really easy to slip up and say something you're not supposed to. Especially in today's society where using foul language is like, you hear it on every street corner you walk into now. But the good Lord has, excuse me, 2 of the 10 commandments refer to sins of the tongue. Exodus 20:7. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Exodus 20:16. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Let's not tell lies about other people just because you don't like them. You still gotta love them. My wife has a saying, I know I gotta love them, but it doesn't mean I have to like them. But just because we don't like them doesn't mean we need to spread foul rumors and gossips. Let's not be Karens, people. And if any of you older folk don't get that reference, Karens are people who are like in everyone's business and are like to spread gossip and think they need to get everything their way. Anyways. And also, God's emphasis on sins of the tongue. Of the 7 things God hates, 3 have to do with the tongue. Proverbs 6:17. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. Proverbs 6:19. A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth disorder among brethren. These are things God hates. And 3 of them have to do with the tongue. As it said in our reading, in James 3:5, Even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. If we don't think of what we say, we can hurt someone very badly. We can turn them away from God. We can give them a reason to not want to turn to God in the first place. I always remember hearing multiple sayings to have to do with tongues and growing up as well. One, think before you speak. Two, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say nothing good at all. Matthew 12 and 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. This is a warning that Christ gives us that so many people don't even think about. They take for granted. They think, oh, well, I just slipped up this one time, I'll be okay. He memorizes and knows everything we've done, everything we've said, every hurtful thing we've said or done to other people. Did you know that the words you speak reveal the type of person you are? Even a person's accent often betrays one's geographical origin. For instance, Peter's Galilean accent gave him away in Matthew 26 and 73. And after a while came unto him they that stood by and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewareth thee. Just as the accent indicates one's geographical origin, so speech betrays the condition of one's heart. By examining the tongue of a patient, the physician can diagnose the disease of the body. By examination of the tongue, the Lord can diagnose the disease of the spirit. The great physician says in Matthew 12 and 34, O generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. A hardened heart, or a cut heart, can say some hard words, very cruel words to other people. A heart that is stressed, that's in disarray, can say some cutting words. And it's not just the words we use, it's how we use them, how we fluctuate our words. You can be trying to say something to someone to get a point across, but in the process of doing it, you could say it in a tone that's very cross, which in turns gets a cross response. I had an incident like that happen to me last night, where the owner of my restaurant decided to spring on an extra dish onto the new menu that me and the front of the house manager were typing up at the very last minute, and I had no way to play with this dish to try to get it ready to go. He's just like, it's going on the menu tonight and you're running it. It's a Saturday night, the busiest night of the week, bunch of new stuff coming on. So he comes in and is looking at the dish, and we're talking about it. He goes, that lobster don't look like there's much on there. And I go, well, it's a half a 4 ounce lobster. We either need to get a bigger lobster or go to a whole lobster. And he goes, I'm aware of that. But because of my tone on that, because I was stressed in the middle of a rush, and he was talking about doing changes to this dish in the middle of a giant rush where I had 20 tickets on the line. And I know I shouldn't have done that, but we still left on good terms, so thank goodness. Think before you speak. See, this is one of those instances where I needed to think but didn't have time to think. And so my words were a little curt, his words came back curt. James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. We as humans have problems with that. I know me for one, I like to talk. And sometimes I don't like to listen. And me, growing up, I've always had a hot head and willing to get in a fight about something. Someone once said, a person should always think twice before he speaks once. Look at how God designed the human body. Humans have 2 ears, but only 1 tongue. The ears are exposed. The tongue is walled in by teeth in the mouth. Ears are not made to shut. The mouth is. Here, he added into his lesson here a poem by Edward Hersey Richards. A wise old owl lived in an oak. The more he saw, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why can't we all be like that bird? A saying that is true by an unknown author. Many things are opened by mistake, but none so frequently as the mouth. Some see the mouth and the tongue as pretty much a thermometer and a thermostat. The thermometer records temperature. The thermostat controls the temperature. And the tongue combines the thermometer and the thermostat into the same device. The tongue, as a thermometer, just as the thermometer declares the temperature level, so one's conversation reveals the level of spirituality. Speech exposes the condition of the heart. Examples. Swearing discloses a profane heart. Impure stories reveals a filthy heart. Murmurings come from a thankless heart. Criticism unveils a jealous heart. And the tongue is a thermostat. Remember, the thermometer registers temperature, but in no way regulates it. The thermostat governs temperature. The tongue not only measures moral condition, but it also is a determining instrument. The tongue is spoken in terms of bit and rudder. James 3:2-4. For in many things we offer all. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. Behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold also the ships, which, though they be so great, and are driven by fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth. A bit determines the course of a horse, making him turn to left or to right, letting him run fast, or jolting him to a stop. A rudder guides the ship's course, turning it in any desired direction. Similarly, proper use of the tongue can guide a person safely through hazardous circumstances. The sins of the tongue are very numerous. And here I shall attempt to cover some of the most common. Swearing. God warned the people of Israel against it. Exodus 20:7. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. The Lord's displeasure with cursing was made plain by his instructions to Moses. Leviticus 24:14. Bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, And let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. I'm sure cursing was rare back then, considering the punishment. Profanity is not a mark of toughness. Rather, it is an indication of weakness and stupidity. Those who profane God's name indicate their lack of self-control. I remember going to school with a kid who almost every other word or every third word was a curse word. And he thought he was the coolest person in the world. Yeah, he wasn't. He ended up being a bully and a goon who ended up following other people who bullied him. And he's better now when I've seen him out and about, but back in high school he just wasn't a good person. General George Washington felt that God's favor would not be on his troops if swearing was practiced. He said in his orderly book of August 3rd, 1776, "I am sorry to be informed that the foolish and wicked practice of profane swearing, a vice herefore little known in the American army, is growing into fashion. I hope that the officers will be, by example and influence, endeavor to check it, and that both they and the men will reflect that we have but little hope of the blessing of heaven on our arms if we insult him by our impiety and folly. Added to this is the vice so mean and low that every man of sense and character detests and despises it. When Adlai Stevenson ran against Eisenhower for the presidency, he made a serious error that cost him the office he so wanted. During the political convention, when he was speaking, a group of some of his supporters got in front of the stage and interrupted his speech by chanting, 'Adlai for President,' and waving political banners. Adlai was so upset at this interruption that he let out a stream of swearing that was heard not only in the convention but all over the U.S. because he did it in front of a live mic. Many say that this very serious mistake of the tongue cost him the election. Swearing is neither sensible nor worthwhile. The person who swears lays aside his character, inflicts pain upon those close to him, violates the scriptures, and tarnishes his soul. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. A wise person will call upon him instead of cursing him when he has difficulty. Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. A few things to think about concerning swearing. Does it please our parents? I remember when me and Robert and Julie were growing up, we said one word that was anywhere close, remotely close to a swear word. We got a mouthful of soap, a red behind, and then sent to our room and not allowed to play video games or watch TV for a week. Is it a mark of manliness? I don't think so. I think it proves immaturity. Does it prove that I have self-control? Does it indicate how clearly my mind operates? Does it make my conversation pleasing to everyone? Does it impress people that I have more than an ordinary education? Is it a sign of culture and refinement? Does it make me a desirable person in society? And does it honor God? James 3:9-11. Wherewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessings and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. Doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? How mysterious it would be how mysterious it would be to get fresh water and salt water from the same spring. It is as puzzling for blessings and cursings to come from the same tongue. How strange for the tongue to speak praise one moment, and then speak poisonous words of profanity the next. Another sin of the tongue, gossiping, talebearing. Leviticus 19 and 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Do you know what a gossiper is? A gossiper is a reputation assassin. A poet, Beth Day, has pointed out that one's thoughts should pass through gates of gold before they are spoken. If I am tempted to reveal a tale someone to me has told about another, let it pass before I speak 3 gates of gold. 3 narrow gates. First, is it true? Then, is it needful? In my mind, give truthful answer. And the next is last and narrowest. Is it kind? And if to reach my lips at last it passes through these gateways 3, then I may tell the tale, nor fear what the results of speech may be. Is the gossip true? One should not relate any story about another unless he is absolutely certain that it is true. Exodus 20 and 16. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. David asked God, who shall dwell in thy holy hill? God's reply was in Psalms 15 and 3. He that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor. Many will pass on a story about another without taking time to verify the accuracy of it. One should say nothing about another that he would be unwilling to write out and sign. Most people even have a tendency to add a little to a tale before passing it on. But the same, by the time it has circulated 7 times, it doesn't even resemble the original report. Is it needful? One's remarks about others should serve a purpose. Even some things about others which are true are better left unsaid. Proverbs 17 and 9. He that converteth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repenteth a matter separateth very friends. Just as picking a flower to pieces, petal by petal, will destroy its beauty, so the dissection of another's character by whispering and gossip may shatter his reputation. Is it kind? Proverbs 18 and 8. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Nothing hurts so deeply as the unthoughtful words of a gossiper. The danger of gossip is multiplied by the fact that one has absolutely no control over his words. After they leave his lips, gossip is like feathers blowing in the wind. They scatter in all directions, and you can never recollect them all if you want. Contentious words. Contention is sometimes unavoidable, but usually it can be averted by proper control of the tongue. This is like guiding a ship through hazardous waters. Caution is needed. Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. When a wasp buzzes around your head, if you don't bother it, it'll probably leave you alone. But try to swat it, and you're likely to get stung. I remember one time, me, Mark, and Julie were swimming around in the pool over at my dad's place, and my dad happens to open up the boat set next to it, and there's a whole bunch of wasps, red wasps coming out of it, and Dad decided to swat one with the oar of the boat, and that thing went and landed right on my head as soon as I came out of the water, and it instantly stung me, thinking I was the thing that hit it. Also with that, there's also the saying, you can catch more flies with honey than you would vinegar. Kind words, soft words, get you a lot further than harsh, gruff, cutting words. I'd rather fall on a bed of pillows than a bed of sharp stones. Wouldn't you? And sometimes our words can feel just like that to each other. There are some remarks which will inadvertently stir up a hornet's nest. The following cliches are dangerous, and you should bite your tongue before saying any of these. I wouldn't let him get away with that. She's just jealous, that's all. She thinks she's somebody now, but I remember her when. Don't be mad if I tell you this, but I think you should know what she said about you. Learn the art of remaining calm when a storm of contention is in the making. Proverbs 16:31. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. In a lot of martial arts, they teach you to have self-control, to control your anger, to control your movement, to control your spirit. The reason being is if you're ever in a match, whether it be competition or whether or not someone is completely self-defense, the calmer your mind is, the better off you'll be. If you get mad, you lose sight. You lose control of your body. You can't swing properly. You cannot use the techniques that you were taught. So likewise with the tongue, if you do not stay calm, you get angry, you end up saying words that you didn't even mean to say. And a lot of times you can't, well actually you can't take that back. It's already out there. You can apologize for it, but you still said it. You still said a gossip about someone that's not even true. You cursed someone that you didn't even need to curse because they wronged you just once. You think they wronged you like crazy at that moment, but later on you take 2 steps down the road and you think, you know, that really wasn't worth me destroying a friendship or me turning my back on someone who later on down the road needs my help, or I might need their help later on down the road. But just because they slipped up a word or I slipped up a word, you can destroy friendships and relationships that way. Soft words will stop arguments. A gentle repose indicates that the party replying will not engage in battle. No fight can ensue because a fight demands 2 people or more. Would you go into a boxing match where a boxer is shadow boxing with himself? Lying. Lying ranks high among the vices of human beings. Many feel there is nothing serious about lying, unless one gets caught. But God says in Proverbs 12 and 22, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are his delight. Also in Proverbs 6 and 17, a proud look, a lying tongue, a hand that sheddeth innocent blood. These are things the Lord does not like. If one always speaks the truth, he need not worry about remembering what he has said, because the truth will always be the same. But when one lies, he finds that one lie leads to another, until he finally becomes hopelessly entangled. Lying, unless forgiven, will keep a person out of heaven. Revelations 21 and 27. There shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. Jesting. Matthew 12 and 36. But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of the judgment. Ephesians 5 and 4. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Some have concluded from these passages that all joking is wrong and that humor must be completely shunned by Christians. But the word idle literally means free from work, not working, inactive. An idle word is one which is working or produce. It isn't working or producing. It is a weed in the garden of speech. Humor has its rightful place in life. Proverbs 17 and 22. A merry heart doth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bone. Words of humor can refresh the tired mind. Such words are not idle words. However, the kind of jesting the Bible speaks of is wrong. For instance, it is sinful to make fun of or take advantage of a person's handicap. I know growing up, anyone picked on my older brother, I was in a fist fight with him. Because no one picks on him. It's just because he's a little different. He had crutches and braces when we were growing up. He's in a wheelchair now. Like, he's still a person. He's still just like me. He just moves around differently. And the only one able to pick on him is me. Leviticus 19 and 14. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear thy God. I am the Lord. Proverbs 17 and 5. Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished. Here we have an example of children mocking Elijah's bald head in 2 Kings 2, 23 through 24. And he went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, saying unto him, Go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back, looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the woods, and tear forth, and 2 children of them, and tear 40 and 2 children of them. Conclusion. Justified or condemned. Matthew 12, 36 through 37. But I say to you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by the words thou shalt be justified, and by the words thou shalt be condemned. By our words, and also by our actions. We are judged on that final day. How kind we were to other people, the words that we said when conversing with our neighbors, these are what we'll be judged on our acts of kindness. If you'd like to take the steps are to hear the word, have faith, repent of your sins, confess Christ before men, and be baptized to walk as a child of God. If you'd like to take these steps, or would like to get prayers of the church, please come forward as we stand and sing the song that has been selected. Thank you for your attention. If you have anything that can help me out as I learn and stuff, please see me after services. I mostly did this lesson for myself for the events that happened last night at work. I found this one and thought it would be best for me to learn from, so I hope some of y'all also learned something from it too. Now I'll turn it over to another brother.